Somebody says here, I'm not really sure what Gold brought to the table today. Seemed like an opportunistic move to get more funding for NASA. That's Surfing Stephen. Look, yeah, I find of all of the speakers, I find Michael Gold the most underwhelming in terms of the information that he actually had to offer. But what I thought was the most interesting thing that he said is that there is an extensive archive that could be drawn upon inside NASA that would allow more insights to be obtained about UAPs. And that's, to me, an extraordinarily important point to make, because NASA is an extraordinarily well-resourced organization that has deep space assets. It's got long-range cameras. It's got assets that are being deployed both looking out towards space and back in towards the Earth. And if the allegations contained in the Immaculate Constellation document are all true, and I strongly suspect they are, then frankly the implications are that we're picking up things on our space sensor systems that are extraordinarily important. And all that is needed is a change of attitude inside NASA to start taking this issue seriously. And I think that's the significance of today's hearing, that you're now seeing, I think, a kind of a shift in the room. So this is Michael Gold. He's the former member of the NASA team that investigated the UAP issue, and frankly, I think they did a bit of a wet lettuce of a report. But just here, have a quick listen to what Michael Gold said.
NASA has whole archives of data, much of which I believe will likely have information that will help inform UAP. We need only look. And again, in an era with AI and ML, we can relatively quickly and easily go through it. So I think it's something that we should encourage NASA to do.
Now, I think NASA actually is a key to a lot of this. I personally believe from my own sources that NASA, or at least individuals in NASA, are colluding to stop the public from knowing about things that are seen by their space sensor systems. I've actually seen it myself. I had a visit to a space center in the course of this year, and in the course of our visit, I was with someone who knew NASA very, very well, and we were being given a VIP tour of a NASA facility. And in the course of that tour, we were looking at imagery from the space station, looking out towards outer space. And in the course of our conversation with a very senior official from NASA, a number of egg-shaped objects drifted into view. And I asked them, I thought, oh, that must be the Starlink. It must be Starlink satellites that have recently been deployed. And I said, oh, are they Starlink satellites? And the person turned and looked very, very surprised and said, no, they're not. Then he looked across to the control room and they flicked a switch and it immediately went to transmission to the space station has been interrupted. I can't say definitively what those objects were, but I think I maybe have seen NASA turning off the switch. A lot of people here are making insinuations about Michael Gold being a plant. That's not the case at all. I thought Michael Gold's enthusiasm for the UAP subject was commendable. He's somebody. We should be grateful for anyone who's prepared to stick their head up above the parapet and prepared to say, yeah, I'm a public official, I'm a public servant, I've got security clearances, and I'm prepared to say, I think that this should be investigated, and this is where you can find this evidence. That's what Michael Gold was doing. Good on him for speaking about it. He wasn't hugely, overwhelming in what he revealed, but I still think that it was significant that he was prepared to testify. I do agree here, somebody, Luna Castle, saying Gold wasn't asked the questions regarding NASA's UAP report that he should have been, namely, were any conclusions suppressed or was access to relevant data blocked for any reason. That is one very well-informed point. I thought the NASA report was just a piece of limp lettuce. It was a joke. And, I know for a fact that NASA's sitting on evidence that it knows relates to the UAP subject. It may be that not everybody at a very senior level in NASA knows about it, but there are certainly gatekeepers for the legacy program who are operating in stealth inside NASA, monitoring what's being seen and making sure that the UAP program gets to know about it. The interesting thing is, I've spoken to very senior people in NASA both in a former and serving capacity, who tell me that they are completely unaware of any kind of UAP legacy program. They haven't been briefed into it. And you would think that they would have been. But the interesting thing is, my sources tell me that 2 rungs below that very senior person, that person's a gatekeeper controlling the flow of information on UAPs. That's how they do this. And I just think that's outrageous. You know, why, for example, couldn't a very senior person in NASA know about the existence of a non-human intelligence? Isn't that directly relevant to the expenditure of billions, if not trillions, of taxpayer dollars